Has it been a good 3 weeks of preparation?
Yeah, it's a challenge. There's no doubt about that. It'll be interesting to see what we learn in terms of the January winter break, because you spend the first week giving the boys a few days off, then you go training and you're looking for fixtures. Bizarre, in a break you're looking for fixtures, and then a normal week into the next league game. So it's a challenge, no doubt about that.
I suppose that question, you don't know if the preparation's been right or wrong.
We'll find out Saturday afternoon, but the boys are trained really well and their applications have been first class, so no concerns about that at all. It's just you don't know if you got it right until the actual event, but we've done what we think is appropriate, and fingers crossed it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, there's no competitive match. The motivation levels stayed as high as they've been throughout the season.
Yeah, they're fine. You have to. We had a game against Spurs, which was a good workout for us and great hospitality. But again, you just hope you've got it right. The boys needed a rest. There's no doubt. It was a long, hard season. Small squad, demands on them, the loading on them had been intense. So the 4 or 5 days off worked really well. But we won't know till Saturday afternoon whether we're in the best possible shape.
How much would it mean to you at the end of this season to lift that trophy on Saturday?
It's a fantastic achievement. It's a Scottish Cup final. There's a European competition at stake or at place. So for us, it'll be a great end to what's been a good season. The target was obviously the league. The Petrofac was a bonus. The games against Dundee and obviously the semi-final here against Celtic was a huge bonus for us. But now we have to focus on finishing on a high and getting the result and hopefully getting to Europe.
Would that be a bigger achievement to win the Scottish Cup than the Championship, given that you're up against?
No. The target was a Championship. You go into something and that's your main target, that's your clear target, you have to achieve that. So there's nothing more important than achieving promotion. I'm delighted with the way the boys did that and went about their business, and they won it in style at the end. And no, there's no doubt that was a main priority. But of course, the Petrofac was important, and likewise the Scottish Cup.
Matt, lots of names obviously getting bandied about right now in terms of who you've been linked with. Can you give us the latest situation with Joey Barton?
Joey's a player that will have many suitors, I'm sure. Our job is to sell the opportunity that Rangers represents. We're never going to compete with the wages down south. That's an obvious point to highlight. But if we can show what we are as a club, the support of the history, the stature of the club, and what our project is, what our aspirations and our targets are, then hopefully any player finds that appealing. If they do, then hopefully we can conclude business. If not, we move on.
Is he giving you any sort of indication of where he's at the moment?
No, we were delighted to welcome to Glasgow last weekend, and great company. He's very experienced, very combative, highly intelligent footballer. So delighted to talk to him, but as I say, I'm sure I'll have many suitors. All we can hope is that we can push forward and see if we get over the line.
Still waiting, essentially, that's it.
Will his signing depend on European involvement, both for him and for the club's finances?
Not at all. I mean, the Cup was a bonus for us. So talking to players, it's about our plans as a club, what we're looking to do and what we're looking to achieve, and what role they have to play. Players want to know how do they figure in the plans of the club. What's their role going to be? How big an impact can they have? So if you can give clarity to that, then you're in a good place for the players. So hopefully we've done a good job. We'll soon find out.
It'll be a big boost to attract players, though, won't it, if you are in Europe next season?
It'll help, yeah, certainly. And we need 1 or 2 more in terms of numbers for the squad because of the obvious commitments. But it'll help. But Rangers is a big club. It's a big club. It's back in the Premier League. You've got the 4 Old Firm games, Aberdeen, Hearts, and all the various fixtures. So there's no problem selling it. And one look at Ibrox, one look at the training ground tells you the size and stature of the club. But you've still got to get. These guys have many suitors, so you have to try and get over the line.
Do you know your team for Saturday?
I do indeed.
You have 3 weeks to work on it.
Absolutely, yeah. But there were 16 players in the squad. Nothing will change. We lose Dominic Ball through suspension, which is a great shame because Dominic's had an outstanding season. I hate seeing any player lose on a second yellow card. But Mike Horn comes in, so it's like for like.
And everyone knows, they all know their place now?
Not yet, but they will do tomorrow.
Tough one for you to tell anyone that they're not playing?
No, not really. They're in a cup final squad. Everyone, any game, the 18 has a role to play. So in this case, our 16 will have a role to play, and they're part of a big occasion. National Stadium, packed out, big responsibility to the fans that are coming in and supporting us. So there's no problem. Being involved is a fantastic privilege really for anyone.
Have you learned anything from the previous games with Hibs that you can take into this game?
No, we've played each other just the 5 or 6 times, I think it is. So it's they know us, we know them. That's it. Our job is to go out there. We'll do what we do. Our job is to do what we do well. It's as simple as that. Do what we do well. And if we do that, if we dominate the football, we move it with quality, and we show good decision making, and we're clinical in the final third, then we get the result we want. If we don't, we're up against a very tough opponent. Well managed, good quality squad, well organised with good individuals. So we know the threat they pose. I'm sure they know the threat we pose. But it'll be an interesting game.
The semi-final.
Sorry, the experience of playing against Celtic in the semi-final and the win, obviously, does that give your squad a lot more belief that they can go and do this?
No, I think it's just part and parcel of it. It's what it is. We've come through Dundee, we've come through various games this season. There's no doubt the victory in the semi-final was a big boost. It was a huge game for Scottish football and for the city, obviously. So there's no doubt the result was a good one for us. But it was just another game. What I tried to say at the time was it was a game. We learned from it as a group of players. We learned about how they deal with the big situations, how they deal with that type of stage. And they rose to the challenge. So fantastic, but now we move on from there.
How would you rate that performance, Mark, in terms of the whole season?
The Celtic one was a very good performance, a very professional performance. The result was almost secondary. I'm saying that in the right way. It was about us delivering a performance against the number one team in the country at the moment, the reigning champions, on a big stage with a vast global audience. So how would young players like Dominic Ball, like Gideon, like Barry Mackay and all these guys, Andy, Jason, etc., how would they respond to that type of challenge? And they rose to it. I thought they were magnificent on the day. So really pleasing performance, good first half, and overall delighted with it.
Would you be happy enough with that level of performance in the final? And would you expect that?
As long as we win. As long as we win, because it was tight. Don't forget, it was a penalty kick at the end. So a great performance, be delighted, and lose a penalty shootout. So no, the idea is for us to come here, deliver performance, and hopefully, fingers crossed, lift the trophy.
How would you feel about coming up against Brendan Rodgers if he's Celtic manager next season?
If he's chosen, I know Brendan. I worked with Brendan at Watford. I was academy manager and he was manager, and very experienced, strong academy education, well organised, good motivator, good man manager. He's a manager of the highest quality. He's worked in the Premier League and came within a slip almost of winning the Premier League. So there's no doubt about Brendan's qualities, and like him very much as an individual. So if he is the man indeed, it'd be a great choice for them.
A challenge you'd relish?
Absolutely, you have to enjoy that. Whoever they Celtic choose, whatever the club choose, it's about Rangers. It's how we prepare and how we deal with the challenge that they'll pose. And there's no doubt these clubs, especially Celtic, will pose a real challenge. Absolutely, we have to rise to that.
Just finally, your team use, you said Martin Waghorn back in. Is he ready to start?
Absolutely, Martin's fit and well. Started against Spurs, played 75, and the previous league game played 60. He's trained really well, so Martin's in fine form.